This is Ghost Talk with 187 PI. Sit back and prepare yourselves for an adventure into the paranormal world with host Shelley Robertson and 187 PI research team. Ghost Talk is broadcasting live from Ohio's most haunted jail. Listen as they delve into the history of the old and haunted Paulding County Jail, where some of the residents still live within its walls. Learn about their ongoing research at the jail and abroad, investigation techniques, and their personal encounters. Here is your host of Ghost Talk and 187 PI founder, Shelley Robertson.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ghost Talk Radio. We have a fantastic and interesting show planned for you tonight. So make sure you're logged into chat at letstalkradio.net. So far on each show, as the weeks have went by, I have been introducing all the members of my research team to all you listeners out there. So far over the weeks, you've met Toby and Kristen, Rhonda and Rob. Tonight, I have one last introduction to make. His name is Vincent Robertson. Not only is my husband, but he is also co-owner of the jail and all of our paranormal ventures. Tonight, we will be discussing international ghost accounts. Hello, Vincent. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Let's start off with you telling our listeners a little bit about you.
All right. Hello, everyone. To give you a little background about myself, my mother was born in Japan. She's half Japanese, half Hawaiian, and my father's black. After high school, I joined the United States Navy, where I trained in aviation ordnance, building bombs, rockets, missiles, and took orders to Yokosuka, Japan, stationed on the USS Independence. I later took a job building cellular towers, upgrading and troubleshooting, and installing new services for all the cellular carriers, which is my current job. In my spare time, I help out with 187 PI, make repairs to the jail, and help design the escape games. I was very skeptical about the paranormal at first. I'm that type of person who will overanalyze everything before accepting them. But since purchasing the jail, my eyes have opened and I've become more receptive, and I'm a believer now.
And that's awesome, Vincent. Now, I want you to tell everybody, what would you say was your tipping point that turned you, from a total skeptic to being a believer of the paranormal?
I would say it was one of the first days we came back to the jail. Knowing that we are the only ones that have a key to the building, and finding those dolls sitting in the front room in a circle around a bunch of other small toys that have been placed in that room.
Yeah, and those toys weren't here to begin with.
Right, I was about ready to turn around and leave.
Right. Now, with both of us, being of blended nationalities, Vincent being Japanese, black, and Hawaiian, and me mostly of German and Irish descent. I got just a smidge of American Indian. We thought it would be fun and quite interesting to explore some international ghost accounts, starting first with our main nationalities. I want to first say to everyone out there listening tonight, if anyone wants to visit any of the places we talk about tonight, please get permission, because some international trespassing laws could be pretty harsh, much more severe than here in the United States. So, Vincent has some fascinating accounts, starting with Japan, and ghosts are a little bit different in Japan from here in the United States. I want to mention that we do have a photo album called International Ghost Accounts with some of the pictures of the places we will be talking about tonight. That can be found on our Ghost Talk Radio Facebook page, and just go to Facebook, type in Ghost Talk Radio, and we should pop right up in that album as on that page. So, Vincent, what are the ghosts of Japan?
All right. Well, first, a ghost in Japanese is called obake or bakemono, and are classified as yokai, creatures of Japanese folklore. A yurei is a word made of two kanji. Yu meaning faint or dim, and rei meaning soul or spirit.
Mm-hmm.
There's the bore, which is a ruined or departed spirit. The shinro, which is a dead spirit. So once again, the yokai or obake is a ghost.
Okay, so when we hear you say yokai, it's actually in English, that means a ghost.
It's a ghost.
Okay.
Okay, now a reikan is a spirit or soul in traditional Japanese beliefs. When a person dies, the reikan leaves the body and enters a form of purgatory, waiting on proper funeral and post-funeral rites to be performed so that they can rejoin their ancestors.
Okay.
If done correctly, it is believed that the reikan becomes a protector over the living family and returns yearly in August during the Oban festival, a Buddhist Confucian custom of 500 years. Now, if a person dies in a sudden or violent manner, such as murder or suicide, the rites are not performed, influenced by powerful emotions such as a desire for revenge, love, jealousy, hatred, or sorrow. The reikan is thought to be transformed into the yurei, which can bridge the gap back to the physical world. The emotion or thought need not be particularly strong or driving. Even the most innocent thoughts can cause a death to become disturbed. Once thought enters the mind of the dying person, the yurei will come back to complete the last action it was thinking of before returning to the cycle of reincarnation.
Uh-huh.
Now, the yurei will remain until it can be laid to rest, either by performing the missing rituals or resolving the emotional conflict that ties it to the physical world. Often, the lower the social ranking of the person dying violently or those who were treated harshly during their life, the more powerful their yurei will return.
So the people that were really poverty-stricken or severely bullied or ridiculed throughout their community, their ghosts would be much more powerful. Is that correct?
Exactly.
All right. Now, the ghosts, they are mostly dressed in white, signifying the burial kimono used in the Edo period funeral rituals. Mm-hmm. The hair is often long, black, and disheveled, and it's believed to be a trademark of the kabuki, which is a classical Japanese dance drama.
Right.
Japanese women traditionally grew their hair long and wore it pinned up, and they let it down for the funeral burial.
Yep. Yurei are often shown as being accompanied by a pair of floating flames known as will-o-wisp or hitodama in Japanese. And they are shown in eerie colors like blue, green, or purple. Now, the flames are separate parts of the ghost and not independent spirits.
Ah, interesting. Kind of like balls of light surrounding them.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Now, the other types of ghosts, the Anru is a vengeful ghost returning from purgatory for a wrongdoing to them while in life. The Ubume is a mother ghost who died during childbirth or died having left behind children, young children, often bringing them sweets. Goro is a vengeful ghost of the aristocratic class, especially those who were martyred.
Maybe like the emperors and stuff?
Right. Funayure is a ghost of those who died at sea, depicted as a scaly fish-like humanoid resembling a mermaid or a merman.
And that's pretty interesting, I think, because when do we ever hear anything about a merman?
No, not until now.
Right.
Jubakure is a rare yurei, not seeking to fulfill an exact purpose and are instead bound to a specific location or situation. Uh-huh. A good example of this would be the story of Okiru and the haunting of Juan, or a movie all of you might know as The Grudge.
Oh, yes. And that movie, I heard, is kind of the make of the real ghost.
Right. Okay. Ikiru, folklore stating that not only the dead can manifest their reikan for hauntings, but living creatures possessing an extraordinary jealousy or rage can release their spirit as a Ikiru, or living ghost that can enact its will while still being alive.
Wow, I'd like to do that.
Yeah, me too.
Send my ghost out while I'm still alive. Oh my gosh. All those ghosts of Japan, And they are quite different than they are here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
The paranormal is quite interesting in other countries and cultures for sure. Now let's talk about some hauntings and haunted places in Japan. And one of the most fascinating places to me is the Suicide Forest. I really want to visit that place one day, and I feel that it's probably haunted beyond belief.
Mm-hmm.
Tell our listeners about that one, Vincent.
All right. Aokigahara. It's a forest, the bottom of Mount Fuji, popular location for suicide. Also named the Sea of Trees, or Jukai. And it's located in the northwestern side of Mount Fuji on 12 square miles of hardened lava. The western edge of Aokigahara has many caves that fill with ice in the winter and is a tourist location. Now, parts of Aokigahara are dense, and the porous lava absorbs sound, so it helps provide visitors with a sense of solitude. The forest has a reputation as home for the yurei, and because of that reputation, signs are posted at the head of some of the trails that urge suicidal visitors to think of their families and to contact suicidal prevention associations.
And people who visit there, they often find clothing or body parts while exploring the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Some estimate that there are about 100 self-inflicted deaths there annually.
Yep, and there is a Vice documentary that speaks of a curse. A Jack Skellington-like doll with his face cut off, nailed upside down to a tree as a sort of inverted crucifixion. Now, in the documentary, the character was upside down as a symbol of contempt for society. It's not uncommon for those killing themselves to leave behind a curse on the world or those people they left behind.
Oh, fascinating.
The forest is very easy to get lost in. A compass and GPS are often useless under the canopy of the forest and or the high deposits of iron in the soil.
Then it would be to go in at your own risk.
Exactly. Some people, for this reason, string tape along behind them so that they can follow it and find their way out. One woman claims that her tape was cut, leaving her lost. Now, although she did make it out, there was a question of how the tape was cut. Possibly one of the yuri.
You're right.
Okay. Hideo Watanabe is a shop owner at the entrance of the forest. And in an interview with Japan Times, he claims that not all who attempt to kill themselves succeed. And in one story, he told the magazine that a woman exited the forest with a rope around her neck, and her eyes almost popped out of the sides.
Oh, that would be a terrible thing to witness for sure. Oh, my.
Okay, there's the old Chusetsu tunnel. It's an infamous haunted tunnel said to have been a murder scene. The ghost of a murdered woman haunts the tunnel in one story, and is said to be waiting to be laid to rest. Another similar story tells of a Korean woman who was murdered there before the war and pursues any Japanese person that dare come near the tunnel.
Oh, my.
Many visitors say that you can hear a voice saying, "Stop," before you enter the tunnel.
And I believe I've seen videos of this place, and it looks really spooky at night there.
Yep. Okay. The Oranbuchi, or Prostitute Gorge.
Oh, boy.
is said that the screams of women can be heard here. The site is in Yamanashi Prefecture, Japan, during the Seigoku era. The Takeda clan, or the Kai, was known to run gold mines there. Several brothels and prostitutes were there to entertain the miners and guards. After the Battle of Nagashino in 1575 CE, the Takeda clan was forced out of the area. But before leaving, the clan was said to have killed the prostitutes and workers so that then he would not find the mines. The Takeda leaders built a wooden bridge platform over the gorge and invited the prostitutes, 55 in total, to dance on the bridge.
Oh, wow.
Once they were on the platform, the ropes were cut, sending all 55 women screaming to their deaths.
Oh, my goodness.
Today, all visitors, especially the men, are warned about getting too close to the edge.
How horrifying that must have been. And, there could be many spirits there from having died in such a tragic way. There are several temples in Japan. Let's talk, touch a little bit about one of those temples, Vincent.
All right. The Dororo is a very old village called Hachioji, is where the remains of the Dororo lie. Now, Dororo can be translated to end of the road, and Do meaning temple. Also known as the Silk Road, it connects the village of Hachioji and Yokohama. In the late Edo period, it was a very active trade route. The temple was established in 1874, flourishing in the 80s. The temple quickly declined. In 1904, the Yokohama Railway was connected to, connected Hachioji and Yokohama by faster means. The birth of the railway basically made travel by foot die off. The temples were built on main roads for travelers and pilgrims to stop and patronize the religious institutions there, providing a constant source of income. The railroad caused shrines and temples in between the two stations to lose revenue, mostly because no one knew about them.
Right.
Now, the Dororo experienced 3 incidents in 1963, 1973, and 1983. Some believe that these 3 occurrences led to its demise. The first one, in 1963, an 83-year-old woman in charge of maintaining the temple was murdered by a robber. Rumors say that you could hear her crying in the nearby forest because she either didn't want to die or for failing to protect the temple's money.
Wow.
Now, the temple only lasted another 13 years and the structure another 20. 10 years later, in 1973, a fourth-year female university student had an affair with a professor at Rikyo Daya. Forgive me for the pronunciation. It's also called St. Paul's University. He was a 38-year-old 19th century British and American literature teacher, married with 2 children. Now, fraternization was frowned upon by the university, and eventually the administration learned of the relationship and started their own investigation. The 24-year-old student got pregnant and wanted the professor to divorce his wife and marry her. The professor's wife also worked at the university and became suspicious. So
he was taking his chance there.
Yeah. She found out about it and attempted suicide to try and force her husband from continuing to see the 24-year-old, which apparently worked, but he still continued to stay in contact with her. The 24-year-old had a medical condition on top of the stress she was under, moved in with her parents, and was treated for her medical issues in Tokyo, where she kept in contact with friends and family. Then she was never heard from again. On July 20th, 1973, the professor met the young girl at Shinjuku Station. He was going to take her to his country home in Hachioji. Once he got there, he strangled her to death, took her body near Dororo, and buried her in a shallow grave. Then went back to Tokyo to meet a colleague. He vaguely hinted about the murder to his colleague and asked that she say that they were together all day. He later asked several others to say the same thing, and increasingly raising suspicion. On September 6th, the bodies of the professor, his wife, and both children were found by fishermen in Shizuoka. Police assumed it was a family suicide, or he threw them off one at a time and finally jumped off himself. Police were investigating the missing student, and although no one but the professor and possibly his wife knew the truth, he had assumed his colleagues would eventually betray him. So by killing himself and the family, he was protecting them all from a lifetime of disgrace. About 7 months later, a woman's body, partially mummified, was found near Dororo. A month after that, the body was identified as the missing student. After the case was closed, local newspapers reported hearing a young woman's voice calling out from the woods. Koko desu yo, koko ni imasu. This is translated to here, I am here. People say her remains were begging to be found. Now, the final part of this story states that the voices can still be heard. Japan's superstition views the number 4 as unlucky. The first incident happened in 1963, the second in 1973, the temple closed in 1983. The word shi means death, And the word also sounds like a word chi, meaning four. So some believe there's a fourth body out there still waiting to be found.
Yes, there's many temples in Japan, and each has a story that could be told. And with that, we will be right back after this short break with more Ghost Talk. You're listening to Ghost Talk Radio on WGOG Digital Broadcasting.
While the other stations are run from high-rises in the city, we're programmed from a little bungalow on Windtree Drive. Let's Talk Radio.net. In 2012, Keith Linder, after successfully obtaining a management position at a prestige healthcare company, decides the time is right for him and his girlfriend to move in together. That's putting things lightly. Weird things begin to happen within days of moving into the modern suburban home. The horrors they witnessed and desperately tried to fight off would end up putting them at the odds with members of the paranormal community and themselves. This gripping story, told from the house occupant's point of view, not only lists tales, but also includes pictures, video reenactments, commentary, and audio of the events being reported. Author Keith Linder does not ask you to believe him. He only asks you to listen. The Bothell Hell House by Keith Linder, now available on Amazon. The book, The Bothell Hell House. The author, Keith Linder. Order yours today on Amazon. Shopping, dining, beautiful lakes and rivers, and a monster? Welcome to Braxton County, West Virginia. Centrally located, Braxton County, West Virginia is the ideal place to visit. Natural beauty and recreation abound with 2 beautiful lakes for easy kayaking and canoeing, and many hiking trails. Did we mention the Flatwoods Monster? That's right. Visit Braxton County, West Virginia's Flatwoods Monster Museum and not only learn about the Flatwoods Monster, but walk in the same footsteps as the people who witnessed it. Nearly all of our attractions can be found within a few miles of Interstate 79. Visit us online at braxtonwv.org. That's braxtonwv.org. Braxton County, West Virginia. Center yourself here. Nothing feels better than a good cleanse to wash away the day. If you think that refreshes you, then experience the ultimate cleanse with Soaps by Susan. Cleansing Spiritually LLC uses only pharmaceutical-grade essential oils, all-natural shea butter, coconut oils, and vitamin E, and tailored toward the ultimate cleanse. Susan uses a skin-safe fragrance with an aroma that brings a smile to your face and takes you to that happy place within. Each bar is handcrafted and custom to order, so it not only cleanses the soul, but also matches your room's decor. Cleansing Spiritually soap makes great gifts, or you can just indulge yourself for a spiritual cleansing you'll never forget. You want some now, don't you? We thought so. Contact Susan Todd to place your custom order at facebook.com/spiritually. Don't settle for clean. Get spiritually clean at facebook.com/spiritually.
$23 past the hour. Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio. With me as your host, Shelley Robertson, and joining me is Vincent Robertson. If you just tuned in, we have been discussing international ghost accounts, setting our focus on Japan. If you missed the first half of the show, no worries. You can catch the full show archive at your leisure at letstalkradio.net or on Speaker, iTunes, Google Play, or iHeartRadio. We invite all you listeners out there tonight to join us in our chat at letstalkradio.net. Be sure to post any questions you might have for us tonight in all capital letters. Now, continuing on a little bit with Japan, they have a lot of family traditional values, rituals, and they have some superstitions as well. I cannot leave Japan for talking, before we talk about the bathroom ghosts. That's right, folks. You heard me correct. In Japanese folklore, there are, stories of ghosts that interrupt people at their most vulnerable moment. That's right. In the bathroom, there are some that reach out from inside the toilet and others that whisper from adjacent stalls. So, first up on the bathroom ghost list is, now I'm going to do my best with this, Koide no Hakanano San. Now, that's one of Japan's most known stories. So any Japanese listeners, please forgive me on that. Hakanano of the toilet. Her original, stories, some of them may differ a little bit, but in general, Hanako is said to be the ghost of a young girl who died around World War II. She now haunts school bathrooms. She's usually described as wearing an old, out-of-date red dress and a bob haircut. She can be summoned by knocking 3 times on the 3rd stall of the 3rd floor girls' restrooms and saying, "Are you there? There, Hanako-san." Now, if you notice, not only is 3 the magic number in the United States, but in a lot of legends, obviously, it's a magic number in Japan as well. Hanako is said to respond, "Yes, I am," or a ghostly hand will appear. Now, should you enter the stall at this point, it's said you would be eaten by a 3-headed lizard. She is what an urban legend, and she appears in many anime TV shows. You have another one, Vincent?
Yes, Kashima Reiko, also named Teke Teke. Kashima Reiko is also a young girl. She was cut in half by a train.
Ooh.
Her legless torso is said to haunt restroom stalls and ask her visitors, "Where are my legs?"
It's not funny. Why do I want to laugh?
She asked her visitors, "Where are my legs?" The correct answer to her question is on the Mission Expressway. And the answer may save your life should you meet her. An incorrect answer will make her tear your leg off. In another version, Teke Teke takes the place of Kashima. She is said to appear within 1 month of anyone who learns of her story, which is also where they got the movie called The Ring.
And you know what?
What's that?
So, by this, we should be meeting her soon.
Very soon, yes.
And you better remember how to say that, or she's going to tear your legs off. Now, that's quite gruesome, but here's one even better. And that's the Akamanto, one of Japan's most gruesome bathroom ghosts. Akamanto, or Red Cape. In other variations, her name is Aoi Manto, which means blue cape, or the Aki Kame Aoi Kami, which means red paper or blue paper. Now, the spirit is said to resemble a person completely covered by a flowing cape and a hood, wears a mask, and is said to hide an irresistibly handsome face. He is said to appear in the last stall just as a person is ready to wipe. All right. Asking either red cape or blue cape, or offers you red paper or blue paper. Now, choosing red will make the Akamanto flay your back until
a bloody death. It would be a bloody death.
Yes, it will. While choosing blue, it will make the Akamanto suffocate you. Choosing any other color will lead to you being dragged to the underground. The only way out of this is to decline his offer entirely. One last bathroom ghost we have, and here it is. The Akanami. It's a ghost looking, goblin. It's filthy and disheveled. It's said to have a long protruding tongue and is known for licking the filth off of bathtubs. Not very frightening, but not exactly friendly either, and a bit disgusting. Oh my goodness. And with that, let's move on to Germany, shall we? Today, most Germans are usually not very superstitious. Black cats, broken mirrors, or Friday the 13th doesn't faze them anymore. Nevertheless, Germany is a place where you can often feel time standing still. Town centers can take you back to the Middle Ages, and dark forests and hidden castle ruins might remind you of times long ago. Still, some ghost stories and legends have survived, over centuries, and they're still being told today. Recently, ghost hunting and paranormal research has spiked in popularity, and so the people are once again flocking back to these ancient spots in hopes of catching a glimpse of the other side. Here are some ghosts, or Geister, of Germany. What is the most famous one, at least here in the United States, Vincent?
That would be the poltergeist.
Absolutely.
Or noisy ghost or noisy spirit. It is a type of ghost or spirit that is responsible for physical disturbances such as loud noises and objects being moved or destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
They are reportedly capable of pinching, biting, hitting, and tripping people. Most accounts of poltergeist describe the movement or levitating of objects such as furniture and cutlery, or noises such as knocking on doors. They have traditionally been described as troublesome spirits who haunt a particular person instead of a specific location. Such alleged poltergeist manifestations have been reported in many cultures, not only in Germany.
Oh, absolutely. It seems like every country has adopted Germany's poltergeist, and I believe we have poltergeist activities sometimes here at the jail too. Then there is the Nazia, forgive me, Nazia in German folklore. Okay, what this is a supernatural being, and it's similar to a vampire. It's often tied to suicides or accidental death. Now, the Nazia awakes after death and often attempts to devour its living family members, but sometimes it consumes its own flesh in the grave. Powers include causing death by casting a shadow on the living or by ringing church bells, killing everyone within hearing the church bells. How horrifying is that? I guess that's a vampire type of ghost.
Basically.
Yes. Now, there is the Wiedenganger, which means backcomers. Some even say a walking corpse, similar to that of a zombie, sort of kind of like. It is said a dead person can become a Wiedenganger when he is evil or dies in a natural death, or simply because he does not know that he is dead. The Wiedenganger can come out of the ground and disappear into it again. Some of the more evil Wiedengangers also kill humans and animals. The bodies of their victims do not show any wounds, but simply turn blue and stiff. So that's kind of like zombie ghosts. Kind of like zombies.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have the doppelganger. And I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with this term. It's talked about here. It's kind of unique among other ghosts. The definition of this type of ghost is actually found in the name doppelganger, meaning double goer. This ghost has the ability to project itself in more than one place, hence the meaning of its name. Now, as far as anyone knows, no other ghost type has this kind of ability. But the real unique quality of the doppelganger is that, the person it projects to others can still be alive. So it's said that if you see your own doppelganger, you will be met with death.
Unless one is German, then kobold is not exactly a household term when it comes to the paranormal. Like a poltergeist, the kobold is a mischievous little spirit playing tricks on humans and doing things to unsettle whoever is occupying its space. Kobolds can be malevolent or benevolent, depending on circumstances, very chameleon-like. The kobold may materialize in forms, whether it be an animal or an element such as fire. In German folklore, there are even different kinds of kobolds, some even taking up residency in homes and bringing wealth to the owners.
We need some of those. We need some of those ghosts.
Yes, we do.
There are some fascinating hauntings and haunted places in Germany. The Black Forest in Germany, it sprawls along the Rhine River, and it's literally a place of legend. The dense wooded area is filled with pine and fir trees, and it's actually the setting for many of the Brother Grimm's fairy tales. Sunlight is mostly blocked by the trees in the Black Forest, giving it a nightmarish feeling, making it the perfect location for hauntings and paranormal activity. The forest is apparently home to nymphs, a headless horseman, and a ghost of a king who kidnaps young maidens who dare to wander alone. Witches allegedly practice their dark arts here, and some believe, get this, a pack of werewolves lurk in the depths. I'm sorry, the werewolves is stretching it a little, I think.
Well, then we have the Babenhausen, did I say that right? Babenhausen Barracks, now a museum. The ghosts of German soldiers, some in World War II era uniforms, have been reported. Lights are said to turn on and off by themselves, and voices are heard in the basement. Footsteps and commands are allegedly heard at night, supposedly without physical cause. Legend has it that if a soldier happens to visit the museum, pick up a telephone, a woman will be heard at times talking backwards, neither in German or English.
Wow.
The town was site of a witch burning at the stake in the 19th century, and her ghost is said to have seduced and killed several German soldiers since then.
Wow. There's a lot of seducing and like the prostitute place and stuff in these other countries. I mean, where are those stories here in the United States? Okay, here's another haunted place, and it's called the Kahn Barracks in Schweinfurt. Now, this is a site of old Nazi hospital psych ward and a Nazi dining facility. Those are used as barracks for U.S. Army soldiers. Now, 2 separate occasions occurred at least 2 years apart with 2 people unknown to each other. They used the same room and had the same haunting dream. Okay, this is pretty weird. The soldiers were asleep in their beds. In a room right above them was what they call a drainage room. Now, a drainage room back in the day was where they would drain bodies of the blood before there was embalming. So that's kind of gruesome, right?
Yeah.
Now, a Nazi soldier in the dreams, a Nazi soldier was standing over their bed looking down at them and making comments to a nurse that is standing beside him, and this nurse is covered in blood. She has a sad face. The Nazi orders the nurse to do something which is spoken in German, so the soldiers didn't know what she, was being told to do. All of a sudden, the nurse chokes the U.S. soldier, who then wakes up out of the dream. Now, these 2 soldiers never met before, and they both confess their story, and they swear the truth of, behind the stories. Other rumors are of a anti-abortionist woman who carries around a fetus and walks along in the hallway there.
Nice.
Yeah, that's kind of gruesome. Then, in Dresden, throughout this entire town, Many people hear the screams and moaning of unseen women and children. This area was home to a hospital during World War II, where many women and children died during the Dresden disaster. Big bombing, I guess.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. When I found out about this next place, I didn't know it was real. I was just so fascinated and I want to go check it out. It's the Frankenstein Castle near Darmstadt. Local legend claims that Johann Conrad Dimple's ghost, along with others, now haunt the Frankenstein Castle. Johann is said to be seen most often between Christmas and New Year's Day, sitting on the roof of the chapel. Now, visitors to the castle have included numerous groups of paranormal investigators and ghost hunters. They're hoping to unravel the mysteries surrounding Frankenstein's home. Oh my gosh, we so need to go there.
Yeah, okay. Well, then we must visit the Witch's Tower and Nazi Amphitheater in Heidelberg, also known as the Thief's Tower.
Ah, okay.
This tower has survived since the Middle Ages. It has once even been a jail for female thieves. It's gained its name of the Witch Tower in 1684 to reflect the brutality of the jail during the time of witch hunts. Many people have heard the wails and seen strange apparitions. Those that visit on moonless nights have the urge to run away as quickly as possible to get away from some unseen fear. There's a great deal of history surrounding this tower, and it has been around for such a long time.
Okay, let's go. When are we going to go?
Not right now.
Next, we have the Elks Castle, which was built 1,800 years ago. And the castle is still occupied by descendants of the original family. How cool is that? 33 generations, I believe it is. Now, ghosts of medieval knights have been seen, spotted still patrolling the castle grounds and the castle itself. That is just fascinating. In Belgium, at the Black Farm, it's part of the Boy Scouts hostel ring. It's regularly occupied by visiting scout troops. Now, people sleeping in the third floor dormitory, which is former the hayloft, they're woken up at night by a figure of a full Boy Scout that asks them for a light to guide his way. The figure looks solid enough, but its face is always a shadow. When somebody provides a light to him and the ghost walks toward the staircase and disappears. It seems that some years ago, a Boy Scout missed the stairs in the dark and plunged to his death. People have claimed to have seen this ghost, and the innkeeper said that it appears once or twice a year. Now, okay, there's a few legends in German folklore some of you may have heard of. This one I want to touch on is Krampus. Who is Krampus? He is the horrific Christmas devil. Krampus is a half-goat, half-demon, horrific beast who literally beats people into being nice and not naughty. He bears horns, dark hair, and fangs. The anti-Saint Nicholas comes with a chain and bells that he lashes about, along with a bundle of birch sticks meant to swat naughty children. He then hauls the bad children down to the underworld. Krampus, whose name is derived from the German word Krampen, meaning claw, the legendary beast also shares the characteristics with other scary demonic creatures in Greek mythology. The legend is part of a centuries-old Christmas tradition in Germany, where Christmas celebrations begin in early December, and they continue on all month long. Now, according to folklore, Krampus purportedly shows up in the towns the night before December 6th, known as Krampus Night, and that also happens to be the day of St. Nicholas. Now, German children usually look outside their door to see if their shoe or boot they left out there the night before contains either presents or, like a reward for good behavior or a stick for bad behavior. It seems as though the Krampus has become, a modern tradition where they also have festivals and celebrations featuring people dressed up as the Krampus chasing people through the streets. Now, I don't know. With all that, we'll be right back after this short break with more Ghost Talk. You're listening to Ghost Talk Radio on WGOG Digital Broadcasting.
We pause for station identification. It's the little cinder block building on the north side of town with the towel behind it. WGOG DB Clearwater. Let's talk.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has delivered a one-of-a-kind reading experience, covering everything from psychics, UFOs, paranormal investigations, and more. To subscribe, visit fatemag.com or call 828-702-3032. That's 828-702-3032. Subscribe and find your true reports of the strange and unknown at fatemag.com.
In 2012, Keith Linder, after successfully obtaining a management position at a prestige healthcare company, decides the time is right for him and his girlfriend to move in together. That's putting things lightly. Weird things begin to happen within days of moving into the modern suburban home. The horrors they witnessed and desperately tried to fight off would end up putting them at the odds with members of the paranormal community and themselves. This gripping story, told from the house occupant's point of view, not only lists tales, but also includes pictures, video reenactments, commentary, and audio of the events being reported. Author Keith Linder does not ask you to believe him. He only asks you to listen. The Bothell Hell House by Keith Linder, now available on Amazon. The book, The Bothell Hell House. The author, Keith Linder. Order yours today on Amazon. If you call other talk stations, all you get is,
"Hello, we're sorry, but no one is available to answer your call at this time."
But at Let's Talk Radio, we're here for the best talk, news, and information 24 hours a day. Hear it here first, or find out about the alien invasion tomorrow from someone else. Depend on us. Let'sTalkRadio.net.
"48 minutes past the hour. Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio with me, Shelley Robertson, as your host. Joining me tonight is Vincent Robertson, who is also my husband and some of the brains and brawn behind all the ventures of 187PI. If you have just tuned in, we have been discussing international ghost accounts. We have covered some of the areas of interest in Japan as well as Germany. Don't worry, though, if you've missed the first part of the show, you can listen to the full show archive at your leisure at letstalkradio.net or on Speaker, iTunes, Google Play, or iHeartRadio. We invite all of you to join us and chat at letstalkradio.net. Be sure to post any questions you may have for us in all capital letters. And I do want to remind everyone, again, if you want to go check out any of these places we have talked about tonight, please get property owners' permission, as trespassing is against the law and penalties could be really harsh in other countries. Now, we would like to share a haunting legend from here in the U.S., from Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Vincent has a lot of family that's from Hawaii. So how about you tell us one of those legends from Hawaii, Vincent? Tell us about it.
Okay, this one is the Waimea Falls legend. In Hawaiian, it means reddish water. According to local legend, in the past, when the gods needed a sacrifice, they would claim one of the cliff divers whose body wouldn't surface after he made a dive.
Okay.
3 days later, the spirit would release the body, and it would wash up on the shore. It happened again and again for centuries, and locals regarded it as a sacred place. Now, cliff divers perform for tourists, and sometimes photographs show a phantom cliff diver diving along with the live ones. At low tides during the dry season, locals say the outline of a skeleton can be seen formed from the shapes on the cliff face and the reflection in the water. There's also a story about this place where the ritual was interrupted. Before it was a park for tourists, non-locals could go hiking there and camp. Well, one night, 2 buddies went there to camp. The hike was a long one, and when they got there, one of the guys wanted to take a swim. While one of the guys was off swimming, the other set up camp.
Okay.
When his friend didn't come back from his swim, he went to go look for him at the falls. He didn't see his friend anywhere, so he dove into the water and see if he had drowned. He still couldn't find him, so he had to run down the trail and call the police. A detective came out to the falls, and he was familiar with the legend of the Waimea Falls. While the police were looking around the forest and divers were searching the pool, the detective climbed to the top of the falls. As he looked down from the top, he could see the young man lying at the bottom of the pool. So the detective streamed down to tell them that he could see him, so the divers dove a little deeper where the detective instructed, and they were able to grab the young man.
So they got him out of there.
Yes. Once the man was removed from the water, it started to bubble, and what the detective saw in the water looked like a very angry face.
Oh my.
What happened next was the water shot up about 10 feet in the air and then purged its contents right down to the end of the highway and to the ocean, taking whoever was in its path with it. Why the gods of the falls did this was because his ritual was interrupted by a couple days. And
now
he had to start over from fresh.
And that's a really interesting legend from, Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for everyone listening tonight, we invite you to keep your eyes on our YouTube channel and our Facebook pages this summer, as we'll be going to some of the haunted locations we've discussed in some of our shows. We're going to film the locations while trying to validate some of the haunting claims. Just go to Facebook or YouTube and type in the search 187PI, and our pages will pop up. And we'll also post updates on our Ghost Talk Radio page as well. Now, I tell you, what we got coming up at the jail this month, our escape games here at the jail, is the Barker Mob theme, and that's running this weekend. If you want to know more about booking information or more information about the escape games, go to jailbreakcode9.com, and you can find out all the information about our games. I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedules for tonight's live broadcast. Be sure to stick around for Fate Radio coming up next with host Todd Bates. He has a great show planned for you tonight. Tune in next week for more Ghost Talk with 187PI at 8 p.m. Eastern on letstalkradio.net. Have a great night, everyone.
Good night.